Recording is now in progress. So anyway, so I did have a question in the chat while the video was going to take a look at how to create a graphic in Canva. So if you've never used Canva before, you're welcome to stay on and watch how that works. If you're a seasoned user, where some of you might be, you can take a break or just walk away for a second or whatever you want to do. And I'm just going to let you know that I have no other questions in the chat. So if you know, you got what you needed from the video presentation and you'd like to exit the workshop and get on with your Saturday, I will not be offended. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen very quickly. Stand by, please. And what you should see now is my browser window with canva.com open. Sorry, I have to fuss around a little bit because I have all your beautiful faces on the side of my screen, but it's taking up a little bit of space. So this is, and things do run slowly when you're sharing your screen in Zoom, so I apologize. So things may take a little bit slow on the uptake here. So this is what the Canva looks like from the inside. If you have a Canva account, Canva is free unless you want some of their premium content, which includes some of their copyrighted photos, audio, and video, and some of their graphic assets. Canva, the pro version, is free to nonprofits, and like I mentioned in the video, the instructions on how to file for a nonprofit account are in the workshop handouts. And I highly recommend that you do this because it becomes evident very quickly what is and isn't available to those who are not paid users. And I'll show you how that works in just a second. So let's take a look at the platform. As you can see, it's quite simple. They're giving you options to design anything, they say, and they truly mean it. These graphics have been prepared by professional artists or in the back of the house. And some of them are actually created by users, and they go ahead and they make them available in their library. So you can see they're really beautiful designs, and all of the fonts and graphics are all available in the platform as well. So let's say you want to create a 4th of July graphic for Facebook, and it's going to go in a Facebook post. So I just am typing in the search bar here, and you can see here that one of the options when I put Facebook in the search bar is that it will offer the opportunity to create a post of a specific size. And generally speaking, these sizes, and PX stands for pixels. So these are pixel measurements, 940 by 788. These generally match the platform's requirements when it comes to image size. So you're pretty safe here. Although Facebook will also allow you to do square images. And so if you want to do Facebook and you also have an Instagram account, which Instagram absolutely uses square images, you can do that and just use one graphic for multiple platforms. And sometimes that's easier for people. So so it's just said, sorry, we said 4th of July. Come on now. All right. So let's go into something like this really quick. I'm going to click on this sample graphic because I just like the way it looks. I think I can add a little bit of customized text and make it appropriate for PTA. So I happen to have the PTA colors stored in my Canva account. And just to make it easier when I'm creating graphics. So when I go into this graphic, you'll see the background blue is already loaded, although this is not the PTA branded blue. So there you go. So I do have the blue that is PTA branded. Oh, it's so different. Can you tell the difference? I could barely even tell the difference, but this is the official PTA blue. I programmed this blue into Canva so I could pull it at will and use it anytime I want, and there it was. So I like these sparkles, but they are not popping. I mean, they're popping, but not super great on the on this canvas. So I think I'm going to go ahead and change these to white. Now, let me pull this up just a little bit because I'm missing some of my controls here. Whoops, not going to be able to do that. Let's see, how can we do this? No, it's not going to let me do it. Sorry, so I'm missing some of my controls apparently with the sharing, but there is an option when you have multiple elements with the same color. It will allow you to change that color on all elements if you choose. There's a button down here that maybe you can see, but I cannot see because your lovely faces are blocking it. But anyway, you can, it does give you the option to change the color for all elements that have that color currently. So let's say that we're going to brand this with PTA. We're going to say Sunshine PTA. Whoops, not spelling counts, everybody. PTA wishes you and I'm going to say we're going to wish them everybody a happy 4th of July. Hopefully these are good instructions already on this graphic. Head outdoors, spread a blanket, and enjoy the fireworks. Sounds like a good idea. I'm happy with this, although I'm finding that I would really like to have this be a little bit larger. So I'm clicking on this section, just this section, this element here, and I'm going to increase the font size. So there's a control here to increase the font size. Oh, too big. I don't like it when it breaks the line like that. So I'm going to go like that. Okay. So this is a very simple graphic. If I wanted, I could move some of this text around and add the logo for PTA. I have that stored in my assets as well. But I'm going to go ahead and call this Sunshine PTA. Oops. Oh my goodness, 4th of July Facebook post. Okay. Now, the pro account can offer some extra bells and whistles, like being able to post to social media right away. So I could do that here if I wanted to, but I'm not going to right now. I'm just going to download this. And the program suggests that I download it as a PNG. This is a high resolution platform or file platform. So this will be very sharp and nice for Facebook. And then I would click download and you'll see the pop-up window come up slowly but surely. And it will go right into my it'll pull up in my files. Okay, I'm not going to save that right now. But that is really the basic use of Canva. Let me get you guys out of the way. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm hearing there are questions in the chat. So that was just basically the most basic use of Canva. Sorry, I don't know why it's not spotlighting there. And I encourage you to get a free account and play around with it and see how you like it. And then if you choose to upgrade, there's that free option. So Jennifer, I'm going to go ahead. It sounds like we have a few questions about Canva.
Yes.
So you want to know if you want to start there or if you want to go back farther, or are there other questions not related to Canva?
Let's see. The one from Canva is, the first one from Canva is, how do we get those colors, the PTA colors?
Okay.
From Emily.
Okay. Great question. In the handouts, and perhaps you can drop the link to the page on our website, Jennifer, that has the workshop information and links to the handouts for all the workshops. But in the file folder in the shared Google Drive that Jennifer is going to link you to the page where you can get to the shared Google Drive. All of the handouts for this particular workshop, and in fact all the workshops are in there, and in those handouts is a one-pager that has the official PTA logo and how to use it, And then up in the right-hand corner, it's a little color palette. So that's what you're looking for. It's a nice one-pager handout in there. It has all that information, including all the hex codes or RGB codes, if you know what that means and what that refers to. They're all there, so you can get the exact colors. And so I don't know if Jennifer, are you able to drop that link in the chat by
I'm
chance?
looking for that now, sorry.
Okay, sorry. It may be at the very bottom of the chat cheat sheet,
Okay.
or even towards the very top. I'm not sure where I am now that I think about it. In the meantime, do you want to read off a second question and I can work on answering that while you're looking?
Yes.
Okay.
This is from Sheila. She asked, did I hear correctly? If the PTA do the PTAs have their own social media accounts? And do they need to get principal's approval?
Right. So PTA, we highly recommend that PTA own their own social media accounts. That means you would create a master email to sign up for the accounts, because like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter all require email addresses to confirm that you are a real person, to create an account. And you can create a generic, like a Gmail account that you can share among your board members, although please be very cautious about sharing the logins for any shared accounts, as I mentioned in the presentation. But anyone with that login can then log into your social media and if you want them to do it that way in the back of the house, or you can add them as users. For instance, on Facebook, you can add your board members or people who will be regularly posting to your account as moderators or editors, so they can contribute. And the second half of the question was about, the second half of the question, Jennifer, was about,
I'm sorry, I was muted. Do you have to get principal's approval?
no, PTA is our, for what's posted. I see. Yes, the principal does not have any control over what's posted on your PTA social media. So the PTA owned social media belongs to the PTA, not the school, not the school district, not anybody else. You have control of what's posted there, which is why we offer so many guidelines for what is appropriate to be posted. You know, I make sure that you're, following all the guidelines for that. You do not need the principal's approval to post to your own PTA accounts. Now, if your school or your school district, like here in Burbank, our school district actually has a Facebook account. And some schools actually have their own Facebook accounts and Twitter accounts or Instagram accounts. If you as PTA would like to post something to the school district's accounts, you absolutely need permission from the principal or the superintendent or whatever level of PTA you are at. You need permission to do that. And they do have the authority to ask you to change content if that's needed, because it's their accounts. And so anything that goes up is going to go out on the school district's name. And so it's very important that we have the principal's approval for that.
And April also asked if you need board approval.
So you generally don't need board approval in its entirety to post something. It depends on what it is that you're wanting to post. If it's a statement, if it's a comment on something in the news or a newsworthy item, you may want to discuss that with your board, just because some of those things, especially lately, can be rather controversial. But generally, the PTA president the buck stops with the PTA president. If the PTA president does not approve the content, it does not go up. You can create like a shared file or a dump file of things that you post on a regular basis, and ask the president to approve those ahead of time, especially if you're doing a series of posts that are going to go out over a week or two. Instead of having every single post approved every single time, just have them approve the schedule, the calendar, and then make sure everything's okay. And then you can post from there. I hope that was enough information.
And does PTA have to get a Canva account for the board?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Canva is just a free, very user-friendly tool that has become really popular with PTAs. So state PTA featured it in their presentations, and so I'm featuring it here today as well. But if you are a Photoshop user, first of all, call me because we need a communications person at First District PTA because that's a pretty high level software. But if you're more comfortable in Adobe Spark or Trello or Photoshop or any of the, Pixlr, any of the multitude of free or paid tools that are out there to create graphics, go for it. The only caveat I would say is, don't expect your PTA to pay for a $600 Photoshop license and say, well, I need it because I'm in communications. You have to be thoughtful about how those funds that you're getting from your donors are spent. And because there are free and low cost tools available, that's probably not the wisest path to take or the wisest ask to make, especially too, since the platform of that particular app or program is actually very high level and not very easy. The learning curve is quite steep. I would choose something that is accessible and easy for multiple people, multiple users, because like I said in the presentation, you may be asking others to help you create content and you don't want to make it so cumbersome that they can't participate in that process because it is a big job, or it can be a big job, especially if you've got multiple social media accounts going on.
Sheila, was your question answered or did you need to have another question?
Is Sheila still here?
Still there?
She may not be here.
Okay, Erin had a question.
Okay.
Hi. So I was trying to think of ways that, sorry, I was gonna. So I was trying to think of ways that we could build more school community and use social media to involve the parents with the PTA and feel more motivated. And so an idea I had was having inviting the parents to post like student celebrations, like Johnny just passed his red belt in karate, or doing monthly challenges, like come up with a silly tongue twister and share it. And so my question is about releases. Do you think doing something like that is sort of inviting, opening a can of worms of trouble with that? Or would doing a blanket release at the beginning of the year cover it? Or if the monthly celebration prompts are in Instagram, sort of adding a note of tagging at school PTA is giving permission to share your my child's video across all school platforms. Do you think that idea is okay? And what do you think is the best way to cover us in terms of the release and permission?
This is a great question. We get tons of questions around using photographs of especially kids and a lot of questions about how to do a blanket release. So just know that photographs are, even if you post them on, the question we often get is, well, our Facebook group is closed and private and you have to be asked permission to be part of it. So I'll address that in a second. So only people that we invite in can see those pictures. So that's okay, right? You have to remember that in this day and age, you can take a screenshot of anything, anywhere, at any time and post that picture anywhere else. And in our district, we have students who are, whose families are actually protected by the Witness Protection Program, the Federal Witness Protection Program. We have families who are engaged in custody disagreements. So when posting photographs of children, it is so important that you get a release from a parent or guardian for that purpose. You can, and this is going to vary district by district, but in our school district, our schools and our superintendent are actually very, very friendly to PTA and will allow us to include things like photo releases in digital packets that go out to our parent population. So definitely have a conversation if you're at a school site, talk to your principal about doing something like that, and engage the executive board and the president of your PTA to help you with that process. In regards to having a closed or private Facebook group, the first question I would ask is why you would want to close off your amazing things that your PTA is doing to the general public, because the Facebook and social media are places to brag about what your PTA is doing and to engage parents who may not even be members. So you want to be able to have those open to the to everyone, so you can share all these great things. And I think your ideas about generating content by having contests, involving the students, amazing ideas. These are all ways that you engage your families and connect them to your school community is so important. Is a great idea. And engagement is really important. In fact, I deleted a slide about engagement specifically because it was my presentation was getting long, but just, you know, posting something and then not reacting to reactions you're getting to it is sort of social media suicide in a way, because people get on there because they're wanting to engage in the process. So try to keep that going. But there's a false sense of security about having a closed social media group or an invitation only social media group, to my point earlier about screenshots and other ways that people share information. It can be out faster than you can say boo. And then we also get asked very often, so if a parent posts a picture to our social media account, isn't that permission? In a non-litigious world, or in a world where filing a lawsuit wasn't as easy as, you know, changing your hairstyle, I would say, yeah, it's probably okay. But for PTA, because this is a PTA account and it is attached to an organization, I can't emphasize enough how important it is to get your photo and video releases. It really is critical. Again, getting a blanket release signed, if you can convince your principal to include it in the registration paperwork at the beginning of the year, or however you want to do it, and you just put a date range on it for that year that you're in charge of, that will cover you for all. But someone does need to be in charge of comparing the names of the students that are asking to have photographs posted, or parents who are asking to have photographs of their kids posted, or any photographs you take in an event. Check the names of the kids, make sure you have your release. If you don't have a release, there are a few ways you can work around that. You can add little blur buttons or blur circles over faces of children. And I'm telling you, in a group photograph, you must have releases for every single child that's pictured in that photograph, or you need to redact their identity, either by putting something clever like a smiley face emoji over their face, or blurring them out, or pixelating out their face, whatever it is. But I can't emphasize enough how important it is to do that step. Make sure that you have a photo release for anyone whose photograph you're going to post or use in social media.
Okay, thank you.
Was that dire enough? Was that enough of a warning to get you done?
Yeah, no, I was hoping, I mean, it sounds like ideally have a blanket release at the beginning of the year with the date range. And then if not, then find a way, like have a note of, if interested in sharing a photo, contact me for a photo release. And then that can just be coordinated. But I guess I was just also wondering if in the note, if it was said, because in the past for other things I've seen people say, by doing this, you are agreeing to this. And so I didn't know if that could sort of cover as the release, but it sounds like it's like a yes, no, maybe. Having an actual release would just be safer.
Yes, 100% safer.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Erin. What's next, Jennifer?
Hey, we have another question from Emily. Do we communicate just our own school's info? Would we know if something we can see on national PTA gets conveyed?
Oh, okay. So great question. So there was a slide in the presentation that had the green or yellow red chart. And green indicates, you know, it's always okay to post. National PTA, you can post anything from National PTA at any time. Their content is pre-cleared, pre-vetted, pre-everything, and it is PTA related and absolutely PTA branded. So you can share from their social media accounts anytime you want. If you're talking about other groups on your school campus or other community groups, just be sure that those posts are not being prioritized over PTA posts. And, you know, there can be some gray area about posting information about fundraisers that other organizations are holding, because PTA is also a fundraising group. It's not our primary purpose, but we do fundraisers. And some people view this as a conflict of interest. So just be aware of what the optics are to your membership, to your school community, and whether or not, have a conversation with the president of your PTA about whether or not that's an appropriate thing to share on your accounts. Definitely have a conversation about it. And if you have any questions about that specifically, if you're a school site PTA and you have a council, you belong to a council, you can ask your council for advice, or you can come straight to communications@pta1.org and ask questions like that.
Okay,
I hope
and
that covered
Emily
it.
also asked, are there some platforms we need to be monitoring consistently to get such news to pass on?
Yes. So yes, absolutely. You should follow, if you have a Facebook account for your PTA, make sure that you're following National PTA and California State PTA and First District PTA on Facebook. All those organizations also have Twitter accounts and Instagram accounts, and that's one of the best ways to find content that they are creating that you can share. You can also sign up for newsletters at National PTA, and sorry, my dog would like you to know that sign up right away. You can sign up at National PTA, or you can sign up at California State PTA. Generally, almost any page on their websites have sign up forms where you can join their mailing list in the margin, and you can just sign up, and then those communications will come to you and you can share anything out that you wish.
Okay, and Ashley asked if there's an example of a photo release we can use, or can we create our own?
So the photo release form for PTA is a PTA specific form. It's available on the PTA website. Jennifer, that might be the toolkit might be one of the links that's on the chat cheat sheet that you may want to link them to. The California State PTA, their website is capta.org. They have a toolkit for leadership and for PTA leaders that is like the PTA Bible. It has everything in that, including forms. So there's no need to recreate the wheel or reinvent the wheel or recreate a form for yourself, because those forms are available in the toolkit. And actually, there we go. And she just popped it into the chat. So you could just search. There's a search bar in the toolkit, and you just type photo release, and it should come up in forms. And the reason we ask, or not even ask, the reason that form is required is because it is actually created by an insurance company. So it is very specific to PTA, and there's language in there that's specific to our insurance policy. So please don't create your own photo release form. Please do use the PTA branded, PTA approved and insurance company approved photo release form. And I hope that answers it.
And then Aurora has a question. As a parent, I feel pressure to sign that general photo release, but I don't necessarily always want it used. So I
Okay.
don't know what.
So I see what you're saying. So, if you do not want pictures of your child, I think, correct me if I'm going down the wrong path here. If I understand your question correctly, signing the photo release and approving, photos of your children to be posted is a decision you have to make for yourself and your family. If you don't want photos of your child to be out there, then answer no on the photo release. And I'm even talking about the school district one. The school district one often has an opt-out option, so that photos of your children are not posted on their accounts or their website or their social media accounts. You should not feel pressured. I understand what you're saying, but please don't feel pressured to sign it. Please don't feel pressure to have people post pictures of your kids. Hopefully there is someone who is doing the due diligence on your PTA board, and your communications person or whoever is in charge of your communications is checking photographs to make sure that there are releases attached to every single child who is featured in a photograph before it's posted. If you did not sign a release and you see that a photograph of your child has been posted, you have every right to contact whomever posted it immediately and have that photo removed. Yeah, don't feel pressured to sign the release, and certainly, you know, tell your parents in your community they shouldn't feel pressured to sign it. It's a choice. It's a choice. And I hope that answered your question. Let me know if I went down a rabbit hole that you didn't intend at all.
Okay, and then Amelia asks, do we need a photo or video release for reflections, or is that included in the form already?
Oh yeah, where the reflections materials that you fill out when your child participates in that program does include photo release information, if I'm not mistaken. So just by filling out okay, I'm getting the nod from all the people who are in the know. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Diane. Yeah, so you don't have to have a separate one just for reflections. Or sorry, reflections, the packet, the sign up packet already has their own release. But it's only for reflections program. It would not cover the PTA for its general social media and photo use or website photo use. If that was what the question was meant to be asking, I'm not sure. I hope I answered both sides. Okay.
And that's the last question in our chat.
That's it. Awesome. All right. Did anyone have a question that didn't get answered that perhaps we overlooked? We still have about 15 minutes left. I know I gave you a fire hose. Amelia, you have another question? You have your hand up?
Amelia does.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Can you just clarify the reflections part? So if we wanted to share on social media, here are our winners, but it's not, I don't know if it's the same as part of the reflections packet if the school is presenting it on social media, or here are our winners from the unit level or something like that. So is that a different release than from the reflections packet form? I'm not sure.
Okay, let me see if I'm understanding your question correctly. Are you talking about if the school or the school district posts the results, or your PTA?
So let's say somebody wants to put in our local newspaper who the winners of the reflections contest are, or on Facebook or something. So that's not going on to, you know, council district. That's separate advertising or posting, if you will. So if we want to say announce in the newspaper, because someone just wants to make an announcement, local newspaper, that's a separate release form.
So who's the someone that is asking to post to?
So like sometimes we might have a family who in recent past, there was a student who's formerly from our school, but she interns at the local newspaper, and so she likes writing stories about her former school. So would we need releases but like specifically it would be reflections, I guess, because I'm wondering if we need additional release to put into this local newspaper, since it's not, that newspaper is not tied to the reflections program per se.
Right. So in that regard, it's the newspaper's job to get the release. Okay, the PTA release will not cover what's happening in the news.
Oh, okay.
It only covers what's happening under PTA. So your PTA, so you post it, PTA posts it on social media,
I see.
PTA posts it on the website, PTA posts it where, you know, in a newsletter or whatever. If the newspaper wants to write an article about the students, the newspaper needs to get the releases. If the school wants to publish the results of the contest on their own platform, has nothing to do with PTA, they are responsible for getting the release. So the release only covers PTA social media, PTA communications, PTA websites. That's it. It is from our insurance company. It's from our insurance company as PTA. So it only covers anything that's tied to PTA.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Catherine. I see Catherine in there. Hi, I love my Burbank peeps. They're all exiting stage left though, because it's almost 2 o'clock. Hi, Erin. All right, anything else? I don't see anything more in the chat. Jennifer, do you have anything more for me?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. So I know, like I said at the beginning, I threw a lot of information your way, kind of like the fire hose, because I did combine content from a few different presentations into one single presentation. So there's a lot of information there. I will correct and update the video so that it will be posted after this, after our conference is over and our leadership has had a little bit time to breathe. So please be patient with us as we'll take some time to process the videos from this workshop and from all the other workshops and to get them edited into a format that we can post online. And you know, anytime you have questions about communications and you're not getting a clear answer from or for sort of like I don't know, I've never been asked that question before from someone on your unit board or even someone at the council level, we're always here to answer these kind of questions for you. We know there's a lot of caveats and things to think about. I hope I didn't scare you too much with the cybersecurity stuff, but it is, when you're doing communications, it covers so many areas of PTA that you do kind of need to know what some of the moving parts are and what some of the pitfalls can be about putting your messaging out there, putting photographs out there or whatever. So I hope that that got you covered. And again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, you know, we didn't talk about how to set up a Twitter account for your PTA or how to set up a Facebook account for your PTA. If you need that kind of help, please call us. We're happy to help anytime we can. Or you may have people locally in your unit or council who are savvy about social media accounts. You can check with them too, but there are some back of the house things that you need to keep in mind about privacy and about how many users you have attached to your account. And we can help you navigate all of that. Great. So Madam President, do you have any questions for us or do you want to just wave and say hi?
Hey guys, I just wanted to stop in and say hi. It sounded fabulous. I really wanted to be in this one, but I had another commitment, so I wasn't able to join. I had to help in another workshop, but I love communications. If you have any questions at all, truly, Amy is gold standard when it comes to communications, whether it's social media, website, what the rules are. She's your gal, I gotta tell you. So kudos to all of you, and please, please, please reach out. We're here, that's what we're here for. So thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and weekend, and here's to a great summer of planning. Take care.
Great.
Bye.
And on that note, man, talk about an exit speech. She did all my work. That's great. Everything Diane said, ditto from me. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for making it all the way to the end of our long day, or thank you for joining us midday. If you joined us midday, we really appreciate it. I can't wait until we can do this in person and I can see all of your faces and have some face-to-face contact with you. But in the meantime, have a safe, wonderful summer with your friends and your families. We've enjoyed having you here on this Saturday. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Jennifer, for your support. You're a great right-hand man. We had a great time today. And my voice is about dead after days of voiceover work, which still didn't quite work out the way I wanted to, and multiple workshops and everything. So at 1:51, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to stop recording and say thank you very much.